Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
Murf Meyer is here. Murf Meyer. I'm not going to lie to you, Murf. I can't tell you how many people said one of your sections during the 24-hour marathon was their favorite. You, Craig, perhaps Rena Collin was there. Just talking about the drugs, I believe.
It was a great group. It really was a great group.
And the majority of people that rate me about it don't do drugs.
Well, that's interesting. So people who were, so people not on drugs at that hour. I mean, also, I think this was, I guess that we have a time difference, but that was still, it was either very early in the morning or the middle of the night.
Yes.
We're watching us talk about drugs. That's a fun group.
Murf Meyer has the podcast Self-Medicated Weekly Dose, which comes out bi-monthly. I'm just kidding. I'll assume weekly.
Shit, my name. I fucking screwed the pooch on that name, didn't I?
How is this different than Murf Meyer is self-medicated?
So that one was like a memoir style, like very very written performance kind of stuff. And then this is just like a fast and loose, kind of like what you're doing here, just having guests on. We throw up segments, talk about fun shit.
You got tired of writing.
I got so tired, dude. The writing was like, I wrote like hard. 2 hours of material for that first season of Self-Medic. I was like, all right, we're good for a little while. Let me.
Yeah, my stand-up's coming up, but I'm thinking we all.
Comes to me.
Yeah, my stand-up's coming up. I think we all just sit and talk.
Yeah,
we all have opinions. Who the fuck am I?
Right. What do I need to take a pen to paper? Give me a break.
Yeah.
Free tea for everyone. Let's spill.
Right.
Yes.
Who is insurrection thoughts? Are they gaslighting us? You in the corner.
Yeah. 1-6. How are your thoughts on 1-6?
So how's this? So this is different. You're just talking every week to somebody that had a big drug problem, right? Or doesn't?
Yeah. Or it's like all different. Mostly, I tend to I've had people on so far, but it's all walks. I'm willing to because I play like old anti-drug PSAs from the 80s. The heyday of the Is your brain on drugs? There's so many. There's just a treasure trove of ridiculous. So I play clips. I play videos. We riff off that. I play topical stuff in the world of drugs and drug news and policy and all that. So
and Murf, by the way, I love I want to do the opposite. I want to do like the Al-Anon podcast. We're Addicted also will be my subtitle because everything that you guys talk about, and I've been to open AA meetings and things like that, everything that you talk about, I think is relatable throughout the world because we're all addicted to something. Yes. And anytime, if you think you're not addicted to something, if you're right next to an addict, you're addicted to that person doing all the shit and you and your fucking halo. Enjoy yourself. Yes. Enjoy what you're doing.
You're addicted to the high horse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're addicted to that high level. I'm superior. I'm wonderful. Look at this douche. Thank God he has me. I'm the best. Oh, my God. If he ever leaves me, he'll only find some other asshole to do the same thing. But holy shit. Right now, Queen me.
You know what, Murf? I apologized to her for drinking too much. She never apologized to me.
This is an intervention, Chemda. This is an intervention today.
The 10 drunks sit Chemda down. Chemda, God damn it. You think you want to help everybody. Yep. Oh, can I get a sandwich? I am hungry, though, but...
It's like, if you don't kiss all of our asses starting right now, we're going to have to take you to a 30-day program.
But you figured out the secret, Murf. The secret to not doing drugs anymore is do a little bit of drugs sometimes, whenever you want. You can what what do you risk management, right? You're going to be bad, so I'll be bad a little.
That's right. That's right. I think, you do the best you can for yourself and not judge yourself or others, unless you're a person who gets off on that.
Unless you have a podcast, right?
And of course, then you have opinions on all of it. Yeah.
I have opinions on Will Smith and Jada, for Christ's sake.
I mean, geez, yes,
who gives a shit? How often do you do drugs and at what rate?
Well, now I feel it's been... weed is probably my number one is probably weed. It used to be alcohol. I switched a little bit. I slowed down on the booze. I had hepatitis C from sharing needles back in the day. So my liver, I treated that. So my liver's
heroin needles, to be clear, right?
Is sharing needles. Yeah.
Heroin.
Oh, heroin needles. Yes, that's right. No, I had diabetes. I was sharing insulin needles because they're fucking expensive.
It's expensive. Yeah, heroin's cheaper.
That's the healthcare system wasn't what it used to be.
No. So I kicked the hepatitis, but my liver's, just over the years, I've been kind of a functioning alcoholic. So I've been able to drink And especially, you know, relatively speaking, functioning based on like my family, my friends, people around me. I've been able to keep the train on the tracks even when I drink heavily, and people have all, you know, so, but my insides were certainly not doing so hot. So I've switched a little bit more to the cannabis now, and psychedelics I do. Amphetamines occasionally,
and this lamp, and that's all I need too.
And that's it.
And this trumpet, and that's all I need. And this megaphone, and that's all I need too. And this water, and that's all. And this pen I need, and that's all I need also.
And that is harm reduction. That is how you reduce harm.
Okay, I follow. Yeah, seems good.
Yeah. No, it's just opiates, man. I can't. The heroin's just too good for me. I can't really fuck with heroin. That's the thing.
Right. Did you see Cocaine Bear?
Oh man, loved Cocaine Bear, of course.
Now I've done coke. Hemda has not. She happened to see it as well. Did you get the vibe that people in the theater really knew what cocaine was?
No, actually.
No?
I did not in my theater. I wonder. I mean, I think it was a raucous crowd. We saw it with a crowd who was like, which I think was perfect for this movie. It's camp. It felt like a very campy movie.
Goofy,
so,
yeah.
So I think like, I don't know. Me and Diana, right before the fucking preview started, me and Diana looked at each other and were like, why didn't we just bring a bunch of coke into this theater? We're like, because I think if we had passed it around, like people felt in the moment, maybe they'd be like, yeah, bump. I mean, even with the poison drug supply out there, we'd have fentanyl testing strips. We'd be throwing them around in the previews.
Right, sure.
And then we'd be like, here's the coke for everybody. But yeah, I wish we had done that. But it was a raucous crowd. I think people were into it. So maybe it was like a half coke crowd, half non.
Wait, for the record, he's not saying was anybody on coke. He's saying there seemed to be identifiable laughs from the coke head separately than from the weed heads like me and Xerxes.
Yes.
We had some laughs. You heard us laugh. We're like, cocaine reference. But there's one dude like front left was like,
I laughed at something that I'm not saying it's the most subtle movie of all time, but there were some things where I laughed and I'm like, I think I just played myself.
Yes. I think you're right on that. That's why I think I would say half the crowd felt like they were laughing with us at those moments. And then there was there was moments for everybody. It was something for the whole family, really, at the end of
right. It's like, the bear, it's going to eat you. Then all of a sudden it just falls asleep. And I'm like, it's like that sometimes.
Yeah. But people don't know. They're like, what? If you're on coke, aren't you just wired 24/7? Like, no, you have, you're burning the candle, but you got to pay for that at some point. So when you crash hard. And suddenly, yes.
You felt that way, Hemda, right? Some people are like, what are they?
I did. And actually, I did not know that you crashed that hard off cocaine. I thought that a lot of people needed a downer after cocaine to get them to sleep, because that's what you hear in movies. Molly's Game, she's like, well, first I was doing Adderall, then I was snorting Adderall, then I was taking something to get up, taking something to get down. There's a lot of that in movies. Like, I take this to get up, I take this when I'm ready to go to sleep, so that it's not up to your drug when you stop. So I did not know until this moment that there is that level of crash from cocaine.
Yeah, right. Well, I was one of those people who absolutely. I mean, I like this people. Using a shot of heroin after like doing a ton of cocaine is wonderful, because it is that ease, right? But it eases you right off into either into heaven or just you're in a nice sleep and you can wake up. So it's less of a crash. But I think like if you're just going on like a coke bender, it's like you just eventually you just have to like. I used to drink always with cocaine. I don't know about you, Keith, but I always kept the booze flowing with cocaine. Generally,
I didn't have cocaine often.
Right.
I didn't have cocaine enough for a podcast.
I don't.
You know what I mean?
But when I did.
Well, Keith, I don't know that you ever did an isolated drug until after you stopped drinking, right? To me, Keith didn't get drugs. He never had a drug dealer. Like right now you're saying, oh, maybe we should have brought coke. I'm like, you still know where to get coke from? I don't know that I would necessarily know that. Of course I can figure it out because I'll call you. But anyway.
Weed guys, by the way, sell coke now because we can all get weed.
Yes.
They're going
heavier have a
now.
Something extra.
Yeah.
That's sad. Oh, but what I was saying is whenever Keith was partying, he was drinking. So somebody was like, I have coke. And that's when you did coke, right? You never were like, because my drug use was on a calendar. I'm talking because I do calendar drugs. I'm like, well, I need to clear out 4 to 8 hours for psilocybin.
Yes.
It's on my schedule. I will be doing it with these people at this time. We have this food and we can call this place when we're done. Like it's very organized. Molly, okay. We have the before and the after situation that we need.
We have the music. We have the playlist set up.
Oh, last mushroom trip, Xerxes got what is it? Johns Hopkins. I can never fucking say that name. They made a psychedelic playlist. Luxuriated. It's not like we had to go out and get a CD, you guys. Okay, so like, all of these things are digital. My calendar's digital, like everything but the psilocybin. But no, I'm not like you have a handful of something. Oh, sure. I'm like, where did that come from? How do you know your dealer? Like, how long have you had the relationship? I'm not fun. I'm not fun. When people on this show call me the druggie now, I'm like, LOL to what you think druggies are. It's I've done like more like a higher level, I guess, than weed, like maybe 5 or 6 times. 1 mushroom time, couple acid times, couple Molly times. Molly sounds like cocaine, and I'm done with Molly. That's how much I don't like to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Molly, I did a couple. I'm like,
come down.
This is great. The come down, I couldn't come down. I was pushing my head down, like, please, please stop.
Make it.
I can't. I've had all the fun I can. Please.
Hemda, I would actually say I would count it. That does sound fun to me. I think there's some idea, this romanticizing of like when you're young, like everything you just described sounds like a young person's game of this, I'll just do these drugs randomly with these people and I'll find myself.
I was never that young.
Yeah.
Just
how the fuck am I in
record.
Hoboken right now? Like what's going on? Like those kind of things. I feel like that feels like a young person's game. I think the planning out actually is nice, especially with psychedelics and stuff. Like that sounds like a wonderful experience.
4 to 8 hours. My psychedelic drug goal is to be outside amongst people and be able to take the drug and not panic. Because so far, I need to be like by myself with another person. Like I need such quiet. And if we go outside, we have to be close back to home and be able to get there because holy shit. Yeah. We went outside while we were on acid one time. I don't think my bodega guy will ever forget it. I don't even. Why were we buying anything? First of all, what could we want? Okay.
Of course, and your bodega guy knows your baseline. He knows he sees you every day. So you come in there and he's like, "Oh, interesting. Today is something special. Today."
Absolutely, we were 100% special that day. We were like, "Hi."
After you put your face back on, can you give me a Twinkie?
We went in there so clear. We were like, "This is what we need," and I don't even remember what it was. And we were like, oh my God, now we're like, oh, there's candy here. Hi, how are you?
Everything.
It's ridiculous.
The next time you go in is always fun too, because then you got to be like, yeah, buddy, we all know. Now we know. Now we remember.
You're tired.
Have you done DMT yet?
No, I haven't.
On the 24-hour show, we talked about that was one of the big things that I was excited to hear.
Yeah. Let me go to my folders.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. We got our veterans rewards. We got all show notes. We have the Shane Moss, Billy Wayne Davis texts. Okay, let's go into that folder.
Yes.
And this is what we were talking about.
This motherfucker has a file on it. I
got a file on these motherfuckers. I wrote to Shane Moss, the creator of our generation's creator of drugs.
Wait, hold on. Before you go into this, this is a real file folder thing. If you're watching live right now, if you're watching on YouTube, you see it. There's nothing digital about this. And I believe every time you pass a Staples store, you go, Keith did that. Because it's the only reason why these stores are still alive. Keith is like, I'm out of file folders.
Yes.
Oh my God.
These will be declassified at some point too. All of them, I imagine. Yes.
He doesn't have a binder full of women. He's got a binder full of comedians.
I know everything you do. I print it out. I add it in. I have one on my girlfriend. I call it a diary, but it's just a folder at time she fucked up.
There's something like almost, at least for me, I more respectful about doing it analog as well. There's something old school creepy about the analog nature of it, I think.
Well, it's more that like you mean it. Pen to paper, you mean.
You do. That's right. That's
you know?
Right. Yep, you're not fucking around. Yeah.
Ryan V is saying Keith got more records than the KGB.
That's true. You can say Cherry. FBI or CIA, but sure, KGB. Sure, I follow.
Mimi Cherry is saying binders full of binders. bad beef. I mean, eventually a file cabinet. You're gonna have to get a bigger New York City apartment just for this.
You ever see Joan Rivers? And she would open up, if you explored her house, every time somebody videotaped her house, she'd show this big filing cabinet of jokes like, the weather. I'll go to W. The weather's so stinky. Take a fucking shower, you nasty whore. So I have everything on everything. That's what I got. I have a file of every comedian that ever fucking fucked me.
Fuck the Twitter files. The Malley files are what everyone's going to be looking for.
I wrote to Shane and Billy Wayne Davis. Billy Wayne Davis was on our show. He's going to be on our show this week. We're going to get to the bottom of this. But anyway, he brought up there was a DMT pill. And he said it only lasts 5-10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I think I'd like to see heaven for 10 minutes. And so I write to both of them. I text them. Let's see. Hey, Shane, Keith from Keith and the Girl here. I heard Billy Wayne and Mike Kaplan, because, you know, I'm adding references. Did DMT pills as opposed to ayahuasca that makes you shit and vomit. I want that, please. Shane wrote back, I believe there are some places in D.C. that sell things like that very openly. I don't know what else to tell you. Right there, I'm suicidal, Murf. Like, am I a dork? Are they afraid I'm gonna
a narc? Yeah,
that I'm a narc? But your friend Billy Wayne Davis just talked about doing drugs with you on our show for an hour, and our show was about your stand-up.
They're big brothering is what they're doing.
Yes.
You're like, oh, okay, kid, there's some stuff out there, but, you know, it might be a little too, you know, it's not your speed. You might want to.
Oh, yeah. Is that what they're saying? They're trying to be nice?
I mean, that's how I might read it, but I don't know.
But, well, hey, you might be right. And then I wrote back, thanks, meaning kill myself. Thanks, the end. Goodbye. I guess there was none, because you just talked about it, but there's none. Okay, sure. Thank you. Thank you very much.
If you get a thank you text from Keith, oh my God.
It's not thank you.
There's only sarcasm from his face. So he's like, thank you. And you're supposed to read into that. In this case, I'm going to kill myself. There's also, there's thank you. There's, you gave me a lot to think about.
Yeah, you gave me a lot to think about.
Ooh, I love that.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Sure. Son, if there's no Jesus, why do we have Christmas? Something to think about. All right. Thank you. Thank you. That's good. So I'll take that in.
Listen, I say if they're going to treat you like a little brother, you should pester them like a little brother.
Okay.
Stay on it. Stay on. If you want that DMT, stay on it.
Actually, next time I see him, I'm just going to punch him and run.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Give him a nut shot and run away. That's a perfect move.
Joy is saying it's because you're wearing sleeves now, Keith. They don't trust the sleeves.
Maybe that's it. Shane wrote back, smiley face. I'm like, no, Shane, just end it. I already killed myself. But he brings it back up. Smiley face. Hope all is well. I would like to try that as well. This DMT. Would you, Shane? Well, apparently, Billy Wayne Davis lost all his fingers because he's not saying nothing. But you would maybe talk to him about how he did it with you and then take that thing. What the fuck? Now, part of it makes me go, well, they're on drugs. They don't fucking know.
Right.
You don't take DMT pills, and there's only so many lessons you learn. Once you learn, be kind, share your shit with others, recognize what the it is and what the ego is. After that, you just start forgetting shit.
Yeah,
it's true. I think that's where these guys are at. That's what I'm hoping. So he sent a smiley face. Hope all is well. I would like to try that as well. And I wrote, you never. And I couldn't help myself. And I go, you never did? Am I sounding crazy? And Shane said, I had a couple opportunities, but the timing was never right. I am curious. So then I wrote, what did Billy Wayne do? Billy Wayne, what did you do? The fuck is happening? Billy Wayne chimes in now. Right away. Like he was there the whole fucking time. I had to address him.
Billy Wayne, what did you do? Sounds like a true crime doc on Netflix. Billy Wayne.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine a few of your friends on a group chat, plus like a guy that you're trying to become friends with via a podcast? Yeah. What did you do?
Just tell me. Billy Wayne goes, I can't remember. It was a while back. You were just on our show talking about it. We were talking about your album where you did it. You have a whole section. You have yourself talking to yourself CGI'd. Oh,
Mimi
they're
Cherry
fucked.
saying we went from the dad emails to the Billy Wayne text saga.
Yeah, I'm not talking to my dad at all, so no more shit's gonna come from that. Bill, you have to replace something with something. You've heard that. We've all heard that. Now it's lying drug addicts. I said that, let's see. I can't remember, said Billy Wayne. I did it a while back, but maybe DC has those things you're looking for. What the fuck is happening?
Maybe
Imagine he was
DC
saying all this shit when I was on these drugs.
Why are they trying to herd you towards DC? I wonder what that's all about.
Are they trying to kill me? Billy, goddammit, I wrote, you said you did it with Shane. And Billy said, can't remember what Shane it was. And Shane added the little reaction, ha. The fuck going on? Ha what? Now, I know nobody knows how to use ha. Do you feel like hanging out today? Ha. I understand that. But the fuck? You can't remember where you had the beautiful epiphany that fame isn't important if you don't really care about it? You don't remember that? Then I said, where can I get mushrooms that kill me right now? Because Lord Jesus. And then Billy Wayne said, ha. Die. Just die.
Why do people say yes to do our show? What is this? You get a file.
I love you too, and I love the files.
I do love the files.
Yeah, the files are yeah. I mean, because here's the deal. People keep files in their head, whether we want to admit it or not. We all have files on the human beings we meet in our lives. Like, I mean, that just seems like, 101. And I
understand I could mishear or misremember something, so I got files.
Now, here's what I would say. There should be something, you feel like that could be therapeutic for you to keep the file, because it's like you venting, but then you're also venting publicly on the show a lot. So there's a lot, like you're getting all of it out, which, I mean, if they're not going to respond, then that's on them.
He wrote, ha. Oregon. He did it in Oregon, says Billy Wayne Davis. So I said, Shane, ever been to Oregon? What the fuck? I can't wait till this motherfucker's here.
The file has been torn. That was an actual tearing of the file.
Well, I'm not petty. No, it's on my phone. I can print it out again. I made so many marks on it just now in anger that I got to reprint it anyway for the later in the week.
Go to the digital backups.
What the fuck is wrong with people? The fuck is wrong with people? It's the druggies, aren't they supposed to be like the most whatever the fuck?
Yeah,
then
the
what the
psychedelic,
fuck?
it's like, yeah, I don't know. There's
it makes people stupid. Does it make people stupid? You hear people, for example, with the weed voice, and I'm like, what a coincidence. You smoke weed every day, and I hear it. Is there truth to that, or would they have been like that anyway?
I was going to say, if you have nothing for them, if you don't have their baseline, if you don't know their voice beforehand, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's probably, but also I would say, of course, heavy use of any substance, like these are psychoactive substances and chemicals that are affecting. So of course there's going to be, I would never say that couldn't change you, especially the potency of the weed that's out there now as well. It's like you get people dabbing, getting those kind of concentrates and everything else. It's like you're doing like 5 lifetimes worth of a heavy weed smoker in like 10 years. So who knows? I mean, it could.
Every drug ever made. By the way, when it comes to self-medicating, can you self-medicate heroin?
Yeah, definitely. For me, it was I was using it very destructively, and now again, there is a physical addiction that certainly can come from heroin. But I believe for me, I was in a place when I started using it that I was self-medicating very hard, and so it became very destructive. So on top of that,
self-medicating very hard.
Yeah, I was self-medicating so hard. I was like, I'm going to medicate harder than anyone ever has.
You sound fucked up. But
recreationally, I just mean it can be used. People do use heroin recreationally, which I know a lot of people are like, what the fuck? But yeah, it is possible. Or just to use it experimentally and be like, I don't ever want to use it again. There's this idea that you would use it once and it's this crazy that just grabs you in no matter who you are or what your day-to-day life is, and you'd be stuck in it. I don't think that's just not true at all. But for me, I used it, for purposes of trauma and pain and things that I was. So I'm like, that kind of stuff is just leads you to like using it, so heavily. And then on top of that, you have the fact that it's criminalized, which makes anything more difficult to do and more, adds a whole nother laundry list of problems. So it's like that.
What do you think of this? As you were talking, I'm like, okay, so it's hard for me to wrap my mind around that you could do small doses of heroin, but I get it. And I like, I trust your experience with it. And as you were talking, I'm like, you said you didn't have anything else. So what if it's like religion? It's like drugs. It's like, if you rely on religion to be everything, to be your friend, your community, your lifeline, your only joy, then suddenly you've joined a cult and you didn't realize.
Right.
If heroin or self-medicating is the only thing you have, this is the way to make friends, you're not connecting on any other level, you're not doing any other thing, it's your only way, then suddenly you find yourself addicted, and there is that physical thing that is also separated. But you're more likely to fall for a cult, to get into bad habits if you don't have other good habits and you're just relying on this for your happiness, and now you're chasing happy without allowing yourself to experience anything else because you're blocking it.
That's right. And externally, you're searching for that happiness in an external rather than, ultimately
Constantly.
You have to find it internally, or else you'll end up in a cult or,
but we're always looking for it
at 2:00 in the morning.
We're always looking for it. I would say like diversify. So if you're looking for happiness, peace, calm, serenity, good habits, whatever, you can't only look for it in drugs. You can't only look for it in religion. You can't only look for it in parents. You have to have other systems, or that one system will form a bubble and burst.
Yeah, a balance. Yeah, I certainly think that's true. And I think that's the kind of stuff that you have to figure out once you find yourself in a cult or, shooting up heroin every day, whatever it is, it's like which now those two things are just going to be linked on forever. I love that. It's gonna be like, hey,
right?
Cult people and dope fiends, here we come. We're coming together.
Because you're both chasing happy. Whenever you're chasing happy and you're not diversifying where you're finding it, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think on top of a lot of other things, it's like it just feels like that people's situations are compounded and it gets worse by the criminalization and by the stigmatization of it.
Yes.
Where it's like, as soon as you find yourself in that place, the cult, you're cutting off your family. Now, this is also part of the mechanics of a cult leader and how you want people to cut themselves off and do whatever. But like, I think those things, when you put, the shame and all the stuff that goes along with it, just only makes the issues worse. So there's no light at the end of the tunnel there for that kind of stuff if it's going to be criminalized and stigmatized, I think.
Agreed. But for the record, maybe religion be criminalized. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, yeah. Also, that's another story. Yeah, this is where we leave you, religious people.
Well, both heroin and priests do not give you the option to take what you like and leave the rest always.
That's
you know
right,
what I
that's
mean?
right.
Like there, like you said, there is the small dose of heroin that will allow you to take what you like and leave the rest. There is a small version of community and church and whatever that
Right.
if you take what you like, but if you're doing something and not leaving part of it, oof.
Yeah. The opiate of the masses, right? I mean, that's the whole thing.
I see more things real on drugs than in church. There, I said it. Okay. Do you have friends? Do you have friends or family that say, "Hey, I know about your podcast. You got to get help. You have a kid, for Christ's sakes." The end.
Yeah.
Don't act like it's cute.
Well, we've had these talks. When I did this podcast, I actually moved home to Pennsylvania for a year from New York when I was working on this podcast, and I talked to a lot of people in my family about it because there's some stuff in there. There's some, my family's always been. I'm sure you two have this.
Me and my dad, we would talk about just a little heroin here again.
A little heroin, yeah. No, I just mean about like performing family, trotting out the skeletons from the family closet. Because there's a lot just within my family. People being like,
Right.
so you're talking about like name, like what's going on here. So I was very careful with writing and doing the podcast that I wasn't going to, this is about me. And it's like, yes, I have my family and that's part of things. And I had my mom on the show. We talked on an episode about a lot of stuff, which felt like therapeutic and also like, wild to be like, well, this is on mic. But a lot of it, I think the process was a lot for people. But I think in the end,
What'd you get out of it?
Would help people. For me, I think it was interesting to hear, because we don't talk about that period, those like 4, whatever years of my life, specifically
being a bad boy,
being a bad boy. Yeah. And again, my family, there's a lot of substance use. It's just when there's a few substances, and there's some of us, I'm not the only one in the family who's has used heroin and stuff.
Right.
But I think those like drinking And like even weed and like stuff is like so like normalized to the point, and there's stuff that they don't have conversations about. So we didn't need to talk about. My family was very supportive when I came back around. I mean, they were still having me at Thanksgiving when I'm shooting up in the bathroom. Everyone knows it. You know, you come out looking like you think you're like, oh, I'm going to slip away here. It's like, no, people obviously are aware. Even if they don't know exactly what's going on, like something's going on here. It's like, you know, Hemda's bodega guy. It's like, you know it when you see it. You're like, I know you. And there's something the lights aren't on here. So I feel like that, you know, that stage, like everyone was very supportive of me coming back, but we didn't talk about it, especially with my mom, my dad, my brother, my immediate family too. It's like, we didn't have these conversations. So I think it was helpful to be like, what was your perspective like on all this? And what is kind of, you know, because I think people often feel like I'm always saying drug users are, you know, they should be put in the forefront. It's because people have been marginalized that I think it's not talking about putting their needs above family or above anyone else either. That's not what I'm suggesting, is that if someone, you know, keeps hurting you again and again, and for whatever reason it is, it's like you don't owe them any obligation. It's just like, if you want to love and support them, you're there for them. If not, you know, you have your own reasons for doing whatever. It's not judgment there. It's just saying like, let's stop judging on one side. It doesn't mean we have to then let's judge both sides. It's like, no, let's just have people come.
What is the worst? I was going to say, what is the worst that happened that your family would be like?
For me, I sold their. So my family definitely working class. My dad worked. Yeah, my dad worked 3 jobs.
I think we got all the words already.
Yeah.
I sold the.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is, does it?
I sold there.
I sold there. Yes, exactly. There. Well, we never had a computer, so my dad finally got a Dell desktop computer after I was 19 or whatever, 20 years old. So they finally got a computer in the house, and yeah, I wasn't even living there at the time, but I slinked in. I'm like, dude, you're stealing a Dell is the joke on there. But yeah, I stole their computer. I also sold my mother's. Again, they don't have a lot of shit, so I sold her wedding, her engagement ring thing. I sold that as well. So
engagement ring thing.
I know
that thing.
Yeah, no, the engagement ring, the thing. No, I stole that and sold it. So I and I felt I felt awful about that for a long time. But we talked about it.
Did you get it back?
No, I was not able to get it back. But yeah,
what did she say after years and years and you're clean when you brought that up?
She said that the stuff doesn't. She's now that I'm like, she's happy that I'm better and feeling better.
What choice you got? You know what
about
I mean?
the stuff.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
stuff comes and goes. The wedding ring, of course,
though, not for none. As you leave the room, she's like, I had it though.
Fucker. Yeah, but that'd be nice. But the wedding ring, the sentimental value, can never return.
You're more important. Well, I'm your only option now. The ring is gone.
If it's between me and a ring, like.
Let me ask you this, because this is what we see with heroin and crack in the movies and in the all of it. It's stealing your mother's things. And specifically they always go for stealing your mother's thing.
Right.
How does it come to that moment? Are you planning it? Are you high at the time? Do you need to get high? Are you physically scratching it? Like, where are you?
Because you can't be thinking later they're gonna figure out the computer's gone. You have to deal with that, and you would give anything not to have to deal with that situation. But there, what's going through your head right then?
I think it is. Yeah, I think there's a desperation. There's a thing for the physical addiction to this. I was saying is like it all, like, you feel that the withdrawal's coming on. You feel that, like, and you're just in a terrible place. You know, like, again, once you feel isolated enough, I think that's another thing. Like, and part of that is your decisions. Part of it is like, how are people gonna, react to you, and what's the whatever. And they were always there to help me for when I was saying, when you're ready to get help. So they were amazing. I know a lot of other people's families cut them off hard.
But hold it right there, because so they were there for you always. Isn't that why you took their computer? Because
yes,
you probably sold it for such a shitty amount that you could have taken anything from anywhere and got the same amount, right?
Well, so here's the now, yeah, if we want to get really into the brain of
because you had to have, I imagine you have some wherewithal, because you have the key or entrance to this. You know what they're doing.
It's easy.
You could just grab some money from somebody. I've seen opportunities all day, but they're still going to be okay with you. So something is still working, right? Yes,
no, for sure. And also, to be fair, I this was step one of where you're like, yeah, this is the least risk. If you're like, because again, if you're thinking in your mind, once you get arrested, if you go to jail, you're going to have to, before you figure out a way to get your drugs in jail, because they're there, but you got it when you're first in, you're going to take a minute. You're going to have to go through withdrawal in jail. So like that kind of thing is like in your mind, you'd be like, all right, well, what's the risk? What's the thing of like, because will they even call the cops? Like once they kind of in their mind, it's like maybe they will because I don't know how, I don't know if they have insurance or whatever the fuck the deal is with that. I don't think they do.
That's funny. So subconsciously they'll forgive you.
I think these thoughts do fly through, but that was step one. That was it. So after that, I'm like, to be fair, I also went outward big time. I mean, I committed many armed robberies and other felonies and things beyond them that were to get that as well. Because
remind me, armed with guns. That's what armed means, right?
Yeah. And a lot of B&Es like at places and stealing safes from businesses and
breaking and entering.
Breaking and entering.
Oh, so what was it? Was it not stick-em-ups?
No, we did eventually do. There was a crew I ran with at the very end there.
Oh,
there
fuck.
was some stick-em-ups. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I imagine that's the toughest one to get out of your brain because it's so personal.
Yes. And talk about things running through your brain before you do something. But I think at that point too, it's like there's this romantic, there's like a culture behind it. Once you're in that, it's kind of is this idea of like, well, we are on the fringes of society. Like we've been put in this place where you're like and I also, frankly, I don't give a fuck about, some of we robbed a bank. Like, I don't give a fuck about banks. Like, banks are robbing us. Like, so I don't give a shit about that. I mean, I've already stolen from my mom. I already took my parents' computer that they worked months to.
You get a $30 late fee, and you're like, "Joke's on you."
Yes, yeah. I've got a few of those.
I won't. And then you fight it, and you're just giggling. Like, can you not charge me for that?
How did you rob a bank?
Yeah, we
allegedly.
Yes, alleged. No, I also before the podcast I spoke to a lawyer to be like. They're like, statute of limitations on things. Maybe don't give so many of the details. Maybe, but but which this is now going back. I mean, this is what I'm 40.
Is that how a lawyer says I don't know?
That is how a lawyer says I don't know. A lawyer's like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Be careful.
Is it? Yeah,
that's $100.
It's also like you're just asking me off. I'm not on the clock here. Then I don't know. I wouldn't give you. But yeah, I think the statute of limitations is certainly over on that. But it was just we just picked the bank.
It wouldn't be weird if we called this episode "How I Robbed a Bank."
No, that's fine. I'm fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
On 3rd Avenue and 22nd Street. Yeah. How do you rob a bank?
Well, we just picked a spot that had a highway on one side and had long enough. There were two of us. There was someone watching. We had walkie-talkie. We went to Kmart and got walkie-talkies.
We had a chick that looks just like Julia Roberts.
Yeah, and this was a classic. This was Junkies Ocean's 11. It was really just a high level operation here. No, we just got fucking walkie-talkies from Kmart and we set ourselves up. It was at like a T and it was like, the road was, and it was just a bank here. There was a car dealership that was usually not open on the other side. And then it was kind of rural. So there were houses like a little bit down the road, but there was an exit on the there's literally the way we looked at it is there's only two ways if the state police were likely who's going to be called in this. We're coming to respond to any of this. So we have time. We're like, this is a situation where we would know if we get in, not to fiddle, doodle around or whatever, but there's a lot of banks that are located enough where there's too much shit going on where you're like, there's going to be someone called and it's not a heat situation where we're going to be like, now we have to set up, outside and have a firefight with.
Yeah. So but I imagine there's a security guy. I imagine people can figure out your gait with the cameras. Like if I knew you and you had a mask on, I still know who you are.
Yeah.
Or
you have your beard,
it was far enough away. It was also wasn't. It was in Pennsylvania, but it was not near like where we spent our day to day either.
Okay.
So I'm sure there was news. I'm sure they reported it or whatever. But it was
all right. So I do want the details. Do you watch movies, by the way, and be like somebody's robbing a bank and it's like check your corners, you fucking idiot. You know.
I think all of those things. It's funny because you run your brain of like, well, what do I know about this? But one of the dudes who I will certainly never name any of these people, and also one of them is no longer with us, and he was a dear friend of mine. But the other dude who
unrelated
experience doing this, unrelated, no, a friend, not
drugs.
Oh, drugs, yes, so overdose.
Goddamn.
Drugs, yes, yeah.
All right.
But
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Oh shit! I'm sorry for your loss. God damn it! Kenda is so good at that shit. I'm sorry for your loss, Murf.
Thoughts and prayers.
Thank you.
Shit, there's not a time limit on grief, Murf.
I hear you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, you bet.
And to be fair, I'm in the middle of telling like a story about robbing a bank, so it's a quick. You're like, wait, sorry for your loss, but go on.
But whose lives did you traumatize forever?
Of course.
But sorry about that.
And he would also love all of this too. He's had a good sense. We both always had a good sense of humor, even when we were in.
Well, you're giggling at stupid shit. You were high, sure.
Of course. So but the other dude we were with had experience with this and kind of ran the point on like, here's how this is going to go. I know what kind of place this is. Small, bank. It wasn't a very busy bank. It's like, you're not getting into any safes. Just get what they have up front.
I'm sorry, by the way, he didn't die riding the ultimate wave, did he? Okay. All right. Just checking.
I mean, this is the low rent Point Break. That's what's going on. It's far less attractive. Like everything about the people involved in this is Point Break, except for a few things.
So when you get in,
we got the floor safe, and we got what they had. Like there was an open floor safe. It was in the morning. There was no one.
Okay,
else.
hold on. Slow down.
Yeah. Seriously,
wow. We got the floor safe. Okay. All right. You nod to the security guy?
There was no security guy in this bank. This is in 2000. This is 2002.
I don't even think security was a word.
It wasn't even existing. No. Yeah. But it was 2002, and it's in rural Pennsylvania, so there was no security guard.
Did you, Keith? You grew up in rural Pennsylvania. Look what you missed out on.
I can easily see robbing those banks. It would be easy. I love the movie. Did you see Hell or High Water with Chris Pine?
No.
Him and his brother, and it's for something good that the family needs, but they're going to rob a bank. And it's very, very good. Hell or High Water. But the whole time I'm like, but you're Chris Pine. Model. I'm stuck in this town that I got to rob this bank.
And you're like,
have someone take your pictures.
Get a portfolio together. Yeah. Right. What are you doing here?
You're the most handsome guy alive. The town knows you.
Yes.
You're fucking everything. How am I pretending that? Come on.
If nothing else, you get yourself a sugar mama and settle down.
Right.
That was not an option as much for us. This was in 2002. Heroin chic was over. That was a 90s thing. We were not good looking people.
Okay. So hold on. So there are 3 of you. Yes, I'm getting this right.
4. There were 2. There were 2 of us went in. Me and another dude went in, and then 2 people watched on either side of the road. Like they were like a mile, a half mile down the road, half mile down the road.
Was there a lookout whistle?
That's kind of what it was with that was the idea with the walkie-talkies. Like if the state police come, you'll know, and at least if nothing else, that's one last escape to get the fuck out now. So then we have to go, and we didn't even think, and we never even heard police sirens. That was the situation.
What about a car? So you didn't come with a car?
No, we did. We came with 2 cars. And there were 2 cars. There were 2 cars. One drove the other way opposite. The other one came to pick the 2 of us up at the bank.
Wow.
And there was right on Route 81. Yeah, I'll give some details. Route 81. I don't need to say what the bank was, but Route 81. There was a exit to get right on there from where we were. So we once we got to that, it was like, yeah, we're rolling on. They didn't see the cars like at all, really. Like I'm just saying, the layout of this place was like very sleepy in a way that was just easy. It wasn't even like this high stakes. Okay. It seems like you're like, oh my god, this high stakes. Like it's like the opening of the Batman when Joker backs a fucking school bus into the place.
It still is. Okay, it still is. When I get more change than I need to at the store, my heart starts beating. Okay, this would ruin me. Okay, I'm just hearing it. I'm like, do we get off live? Should I stop him? No. Okay. Listen, you walk in with a friend of yours. You go straight to. There's no line.
Do you come in with guns out?
Yes.
Who announces? Who makes the fun announcement? That's going to be the
other dude who was running basically running the show here.
And what's he say? Exactly, what's he say?
Oh, as far as what he said. All right, let me try.
Does he put on a voice?
No, he didn't. He had a
Brandon here.
Come on, y'all. Give me that money.
Did you have fake names? Were they colors? What kind of guns did you have?
Nah, we just went in. He had a shotgun, and I had a little 22.
Not that it matters, but wow.
Yeah. No, he went in blazing with the 12 gauge.
It's scary. Yeah,
2 hands, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
2 hands. That means you're taking the money, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he put a bag. He put a bag on. I was mainly at the door. There's also a very small place too. Like there wasn't a huge bank lobby we had to walk through. Like this was a small. You know how I mean, if Keith, if you are from rural Pennsylvania, you know a lot of these places would be like, oh, this used to be like an insurance. People sell insurance here, or a Pizza Hut, or like they've rotated. So whatever this bank was, it was it was an FDIC. It was a bank, but it was not a big.
Oh, so maybe it was like as big as a check cashing place in Queens.
Yes, and so you're not going to get a ton of money either, which is why they're also like. Like the vault there's not even that big. Like they never have that much money even in the entire bank probably. And it was just like, you're probably we might be able to get 20 grand. like out of
so
his,
much
and we
money.
didn't even. I don't
I'm
remember
sorry.
what the take was. It was like,
I'm such a dork.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Also,
listen, I know Keith wants me to turn off my camera because everything you say, I'm like, oh goodness, my eyes are saying it. My fucking whole face is saying it. I'm trying to keep quiet so you just continue, but like, I can't believe you got the experience to rob a bank. I'm not trying to glorify it. I'm not trying to make it, this thing.
Yeah.
But this is a bad beef is saying this is so stressful. I totally get it. So
yeah.
Okay.
Well, we got lucky that the floor safe was open as well, is what this dude told me. This dude had experience doing this, said they may, if at this time in the morning is also when they might be like, all right, we're getting money, we're filling drawers, whatever it was that he's like, and again, maybe that part of that is just his experience. Like his cousin was a bank manager, so he's like, I got all this inside info, and of course a lot of shit, like people do things differently at different branches.
Sure.
Like, who knows? But the idea was if we can get in there with the floor safe before like the lunchtime rush, which would still not even be a ton of people, but comes in, that then we would be able to get them with the floor safe open, which is better than just what they have in their drawers, because their drawers is really like, you might be able to hit up like certain convenient, like if people don't make drops, like, and again, it's 2002, so there's places that maybe aren't doing it exactly.
Does anybody say during the planning, hey guys, this is fucking nuts, right? Does anybody say that? Like as a waiter, you can't spit in somebody's food in front of another waiter. Me and my buddy, who were
friends outside of being drug friends, had a moment, yes, where we looked at each other like, this is wild. Like, of all, because again, we were able to have a good sense of humor about it, even gallows humor, even in the time where it's like, yeah, we made heat reference. We did the whole thing where it was like joking about it until then it's like go time. And you're like, all right, well, the split was going to be more if I went in. So I was going to get more if the two of us had to go in. There's two dudes watching with the walkie-talkies outside, and they got less. So it was this whole thing of like, we don't know what we're going to get. And it wasn't enough. Feels great in the moment. Like you're talking about a few $1,000s in your pocket,
So going back, what does the guy say? Hey, it doesn't have to be a bad day. If
I think you know what's happening. I think it was something like, what this is, let's go. And like through the thing, I think didn't really have to say too much. Again, if you're holding a shotgun at someone, they kind of know what's going on.
Right.
And people, if you get tellers who are kind of like, it's just like old, fucking old ladies, man. This was a.
Did you guys rob any people?
We robbed old ladies. No. Okay. Not taking anything. And also I was making sure, and I insisted, which I think he's lying to me, but I was also like, the guns are not loaded. Like I've committed armed robbery multiple times. Like I'm not even going to have a loaded weapon because I just don't want. That's not somewhere I want to be.
Oh, so
that's
there you go, everybody. If somebody points a gun at you, tell them to fuck off. Chances are it's not even loaded.
Well, so here's another more interesting story. Is there's a gas station that I robbed. And this old dude who worked there and didn't own the place, but worked there. And I know because a friend of mine used to work at this gas station, and he got held up. He was also doing dope with us. So he would be like, oh, you can come in. I'll make sure before we're doing drops. Like I'll tell you when I have a ton of cash. Gas station attendants, when they're pumping the gas, they got a pocket full of cash. That they're using to make cash transactions or whatever when people are still paying for gas and cash. But like he would run it into the register, and he was supposed to do a drop. But if it was very busy, the guy who owned it would sometimes be like, yeah, maybe drops don't happen. Like you've got a line of cars coming, and it was just one person working there. So that was the one we wanted. It was actually the maybe the second place, but one of the early places that I did an armed robbery. This fucking dude went in, put the gun in his face, told him to open the register. He said, "Fuck you, no." He called my blood. This dude he's like almost 70. And this dude's like working at this place, and it's not his money. I was like, this guy's employee of the millennium.
Right.
Like if this guy worked for you, he's just like, fuck you, no. So then I'm just in a spot where I'm like, obviously, again, even if I did have, that's why I didn't load it.
Then you
gun,
take it. I'm
not going to shoot some fucking old man over.
You pick up a candy bar. Can I take this though?
Yeah. This? No. Yeah, no, it was that ridiculous. And I was in his face. I got in his face, like, because it was a small, like the place they went in. It was a small gas station. They didn't have much. They had like a fridge of sodas, and so maybe it's a little bit.
By the way, I could see me dying that way. I was robbed 2 guys and 2 guns, and I gave them the money from the wallet. I was, and it was 2 guys. It was almost like a cartoon, or where one you knew the guy in charge. And the other guys, and so the guy's like, "You're giving me your cash, give me your whole wallet." And then the one's like, "Yeah, give the whole wallet." Yes. And I was like dejected, like I just gave you $100, and I'm thinking, that's my license and stuff. And like I think I was so weird to them, that was the end of it, and I got to keep my wallet and I had my phone. Yes. But man, it fucks you up, and I can't help but think I was a pussy. I could have fought. I could have done anything. And then it's stupid. 2 guys, 2 guns. But I'm like, but I bet I could have picked up that car and threw it on them. I could have double uppercutted both their fucking heads. So if it happened again, at least if it happened again close to that time, I would have said, fuck you.
Yeah.
I hope you don't. I hope you don't. I hope you don't. I hope you give them $100. We will find you $100.
I'm going to call you. Can you Venmo this gentleman $100?
Yes.
My guess is
we can.
Where should we send the Venmo? My guess is you might get like the butt of a gun in the face, and then they'd leave. I doubt
too.
most. I mean, it could happen. They could probably kill you in that situation. I guess it depends on what they're.
But I understand the cash.
People always talk about junk. Like if you talk about crimes of desperation, I'm like, if you're talking about someone who's out there, sticking people up to get, to have a roof over their fucking kid's head versus people. There's a lot of different motivations people have for this. Not everyone robbing people is also on drugs is another thing to think about. So it's a lot of different things.
It's hard. The thing is when a gun's pointed at you, your head starts spinning. So I can't tell if you're on drugs or not.
Exactly. No. You're like, give me a urine sample real quick.
You don't have a baseline either. It's like, maybe this is how this person always twitches,
It's absolutely
right. I didn't know him young, right?
Yeah, I've been on both ends of a gun. I was robbed also by 2 dudes, 2 guns. Came into my apartment. This is when I was selling heroin and just cleaned me out of everything, cash, whatever. No masks. They didn't even have the fucking, these brazen bats. So I know who they are. I mean, I knew who they were. And it was just like, well, we're doing this. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, how do you, because I was surprised, I guess because there were 2 of them and they had guns. I imagine you don't normally pick a 6'2" dude to rob. I mean, I guess the gun makes you a little more brazen, but were they out of people? Who, Murf, did you stick them up on the street?
Like, no. I never did that. I never stuck them. No, I only ever did B&Es at like businesses. There was a development in like a private whatever whatever they call those, like gated community thing, where there was a girl that we were working with who lived there. We robbed some rich people in that place. As far as the people on the street, no, I never did that. I felt horrible. The gas station dude who told me to fuck off, while I was in his face with that was all immediately just like, everything about this is terrible. I hate like that I'm doing this. I hate where I've become. Like all of this stuff was like
so
awful.
He brought you to consciousness with that?
I mean, I did it after that, so I guess like not enough, but made me just feel like horrible. It's the human element of that. I'm like, it's not even this dude's money, but like
did you
watching,
get that
he's
guy's
afraid.
Money?
He's afraid. Like he's very afraid, but he's telling me flat out, "Fuck you, no, I'm not giving you."
Fuck you, no, and then do you go, "Oh, sorry"?
Yeah, no, I slinked away. He called my bluff. I showed him my hand, and I fucking walked away. I gave him my chips, and I walked away.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that was that. But yeah, I never robbed someone on the street like that. Never sick them up like.
But in somebody's house.
No, never robbed someone. In my place, I was selling drugs out of my apartment. A lot of people coming and going. I got sloppy with where I was keeping the drugs. So this was definitely one of these dudes that I knew, the guy I knew, was coming and buying dope off me and was like, hey, listen, this guy's got like a fair amount of cash and drugs sitting in his living room. Like I know where it is and I know when he's going to be there, so we can just this will be easy.
But wait a second. You couldn't do anything. You knew who the guys were, but you would be starting a war and you knew that. So they knew they could just rob you, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to, I mean, I'm also not like, I'm not someone who, the guns that I had when I used this, I'm not someone who generally liked like dealing in that. I owned a few illegal firearms here and there. I owned a couple legal ones, but that I did not use to rob anyone. But yeah, I was not someone who was like a gun person or who was whatever. And at that time I didn't even have one in the apartment. So I think that was just more, and again, it's like the kind of thing where it's like, I guess you want to get, but I'm like, these 2 dudes just fucking, like came in. They had the drop on me. There was nothing really I could do. And
where's the best?
Never came around again.
Where's the best place to hide drugs? Because I feel like if I'm in somebody's house, I know all your hiding places.
I think you should, just like in any place, you do a drop. You have a place where you keep them for convenience. Where like I'm on my couch getting high all day, especially if you're using and selling. And you notice the operations when it's someone who uses and is selling and someone who does not, because it's a much tighter operation in the other way. But you generally like to be like, I have a safe somewhere in the place that I keep the most of it. And, even if it's twice a day that I'm in there, I have enough cash that if someone came in, they'd think they're getting some cash and they're getting some. Maybe they think, oh, you're low today or you're whatever it is, but you don't. Generally shouldn't keep all of your shit in the same place, and I got sloppy and I did that and I just lost everything.
Did you ever cry after you came home from breaking and entering or robbing or anything like that?
I cried. That dude, and I keep having to not say his name because I know his name. I know this was in my neighborhood. this gas station. That dude, I would like, that was one that I felt pretty good. But that's what the heroin's there for, you know.
It's so interesting.
That's the
The
cycle
guy
that continues because
the guy who stood up to you and you didn't rob is the one that you feel bad about. That's so interesting.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, you see the fear like on people, and like a lot of shit's like, it got to the point too where it was like, this was the beginning of in you know, where I live in Pennsylvania coal country, where I grew up, is like, now these are more commonplace too. If you work at a if you work at a convenience store, anything like that, this shit just has become somewhat routine now. This was the beginning of like the Oxy, like right when it first started. So like people, you'd have that occasionally B&Es in the house, someone like, but oftentimes it's someone, a family member, someone you know, someone who's like, you know, comes into it, whatever. And it's like my parents' house has been broken into multiple times by multiple family members.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh,
so it's like, yeah. So also the other things, I'm like, I ain't the only one. But like there's
you guys coming for Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Or would you rather not an invite? You fucking weirdos.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff I feel like has become more common. The armed robbery, there's always a level of like, oh, that fucking sucks. And you realize with employees, like also looking at workers, where I'm like, dude, this is the kind of thing where it's like, if it's a chain, if it's somewhere, it's like, just who cares? You know, this isn't about you. I don't want to be in your situation. And I'm sorry that you had to be the one to be in here, but you know, it's the money.
I picture your parents are like, they get a break and they're like, they call you like, do I have to call the cops or just tell me if it's one of you? You have 1 hour to respond.
Yes, that is right. Yeah. Send one. Yeah. One if it's you. Yeah. No,
how are you not bored? Like, I think there's a lot of this starts from boredom and from like agitation. And when it stops, you know, just like Keith, you talk about
you can only eat so much ice cream. Then you got to call somebody. Yeah.
You and entering gets your heart going. Putting a gun onto someone gets your heart going. Going into a bank knowing you're about to rob it, even though the fact that your gun is empty gets the heart going. Like, what gets your heart going now?
There's a thrill bigger than sex, and you found it. Are you all right?
No, and I agree with that. And I do agree with that. That is tough. That's the tough thing. It'll never, but that doesn't mean sex has to be bad, but it's not, it'll never be. No.
You just got to pretend, your wife has to pretend she's making a bank transaction.
Yes, we role play. I'm like, I need you to be that old man in the gas station or else I can't get there.
Right.
No. It's I think, well, honestly, like this is of course cheesy too, but it's like, it's like a youthful thing. Now it's like, I don't know, fucking kid. My kid's great. Like a kid's amazing. Family, reconnecting with people. I don't know. It's and like I said, I still do some drugs, but as far as the adrenaline, I think that kind of shit is actually not, that like takes years off your life. I feel it might feel good in the moment, but it's like, I don't miss the idea of like, all right, this is exciting. I was never, on that, but I do hate that, like, it's oftentimes it's poor people robbing poor people is another thing too. Like we've turned against each other. It's like until we come together and start being like, let's get, the banks themselves.
Okay, Murf. All right.
Well, you can follow my new podcast where we organize
of wealth. Capitalism is the fucking real enemy here. Not me robbing some old dude at the gas station.
That's the new podcast. Capitalism is the enemy.
Yeah.
Did you ever try to make it up to your parents by like leaving your door unlocked or something and
try to slip them? Yeah, I went on it. What's funny is when I was selling heroin after the fact of this, I was buying Christmas, but they didn't want anything to do with that because I was making money and I was doing as much as I was selling, but I had enough money. I bought my brother, like I think PS2 was the new one at the time, bought him a new PlayStation with all these games. I bought my parents a cruise that I don't believe ever went on. I actually should have asked my mom that on the podcast. I don't think they ever even went on it. I think there was this period where they're like, okay, great. So now you're just, selling drugs and you're, whatever. And now you think you can like buy, because again, they were like, it's not about that. Like, we don't give a shit about that.
Yeah,
I don't
especially
think they went on that
since
cruise. They definitely didn't go on that cruise.
Yeah, because you probably stole it from them like 2 days later.
No, it wasn't. Right. No, they're actually like, no, we're running Italian. You ain't even close here. You got more. Well, it's going to take more than one Carnival cruise here.
Kenta might be right. Murf, do you remember being on a cruise? Interesting.
I see. Yeah. Yes, actually, that's right.
Like, especially if your dad's name is Murf, you're like, I guess I'm going on a cruise now. Right. Fuck it.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's funny. I took.
Is there any difference then between the city and the country about access to drugs, that kind of thing? I always thought like the city's bad fucking news, but it doesn't matter. If it's you, it's you.
No, and if you're talking about volume in the city, and you're also talking about more of a police presence in a way that escalates. For people in the city, of course, for black folks more than white. But I say this all the time. People talk about the crack epidemic and everything else. I'm like, listen, man, white people were fucking smoking a ton of crack and we're selling crack and we're doing whatever. It's like whoever needs to be there in the area to, there's a supply, there's a demand. It's like, that's just going to happen everywhere. So no, people treat this like it's a new. I think more people are suffering, and again, I know it's like to go back to capitalism, but more people are having a hard time now. So more people are turning to this. So the usage is up, and the addiction, and now with like the fentanyl and the drugs and everything else, that's ramped up. But in terms of just people doing drugs, no, it's not. It's access to it is everywhere. It's always been.
My friend Craig was hanging out with somebody. Didn't really know the guy, but they went somewhere, and in his trunk. He was delivering. I don't know if he was delivering drugs. He was definitely a drug dealer of some kind. And in his trunk was rat poison. And Craig's like, fucking rat poison? And he's like, yeah, I mix it in with blah, blah, blah. Shit. And Craig's like, well, I'm never going to see you again for any fucking reason.
Was this dude just like a sociopath? Fuck? What was it?
Fuck you.
I don't know. Is that what fentanyl is now? And this guy realized rat poison fucks you up?
Fuck.
No, I mean that just seems like he's like a serial killer. That's like a angel of death situation. I don't know why he would, because there's so many other adulterants to cut with that aren't poisonous. I mean, they're like even if you're gonna step on it, I get that. If you're low down the ladder, you need to cut it to make as much money as you can off it. But put some fucking like vitamin K or baby powder or something, like put something in there that doesn't
Should we just, by the way, people talking about baby powder, with drugs, what's that? Baking soda makes crack because you added it to Coke. Should we just be snorting baking soda when no one's looking? I mean, what the fuck?
You need that Arm & Hammer, man. That's the greatest high ever.
Right? It seems like that's half the fucking thing is shit under our counter. Oh well. Murph, I have stepkids. What's the Is there hope?
Preventative.
Is there any preventative anything? They're kind of fucked up. They're teenagers.
There is with. I feel like we've seen the first time at least. There's been movement now. It's all state by state, of course, but movement towards like public health measures. So like things like fentanyl testing strips being Pennsylvania just legalized them. So in a state where they're doing all this stuff that they keep crying out, fentanyl's killing everyone. We need to protect the children by like making drug laws worse and putting people, rather than just go make fentanyl test strips legal, which they did. It's like the same thing what people had with condoms, where like the Catholics were like, don't give them condoms or they'll start fucking. And you're like, no, everybody's fucking. People are gonna.
Catholics have been fucking. Every time a group of people say they enjoy something, the Catholics make it illegal. It's unbelievable. The history of the Catholic Church taking away fun, creativity, the true connections, actual good for you drugs instead of like they have been creating bullshit.
Yes.
Meanwhile, they're like, are you guys happy and you don't need to come here? No. Yep. No, we'll be the only ones. We are your only drug. We are the only one that you won't go to jail for, you motherfuckers. Anyone who says they have a connection to God in that way and tells you to do that. Oh my, that's the rat poison. You are rat poison.
They are rat
that
poison.
Lethal, you motherfuckers.
Yep.
Thank you.
The sex abuse and the
sex abuse,
Vatican Nazi gold, like they're a great crime syndicate, the Catholic Church.
Well, listen to this big news. It leads to this. St. Patrick's Day falls on a Friday this year. It's during Lent, of course. Catholics are you have to abstain from eating meat on Fridays. As a rule, the church makes laws and expects us to abide by them, said the New York Archdiocese. But sometimes there are circumstances that make it possible to obtain a dispensation from obeying the law. You may drink and eat corned beef on St. Patrick's Day this Friday.
What?
Don't worry. So what's bound on
the lips of God? From the lips of God.
You're allowed to do that, but we're not ready to make being gay not a sin. The Pope acts like making a fucking difference, trying to get people to come to the church. It shouldn't be a crime to be gay. Okay, but is it a sin? Yeah, of course.
Of course. It's the ultimate crime. You're going to hell, but you're not going to jail.
Right.
I mean, geez.
It's in the top 10. But you're allowed corned beef this week.
This is you weak little shits.
Again of corned beef?
Weak. You couldn't even secondhand fucking God. You were like, let's not tell him. Like, you know what? Here's a pass. Another Hail Mary. I got you on this one. You weak son of a bitch. You fucking less than nothing. Ugh. You can't even hold up your own rules.
No.
Ew.
And it's not like corned
gross.
beef. And I like corned beef sandwiches, but it's not like
a go-to on St.
I can't let it fucking go. In fact, you know that it's not that great because the only way to get it is you have to buy the corned beef and cabbage meal, and you get soup, and you get salad, and you get bread, and you get dessert, and you get. It's like, well, no, I just wanted this hokey thing.
Just to clarify, so because I mean, heaven and hell are at stake here. So just to clarify, it's just corned beef. Like, can I have a Big Mac like on St. Patrick's Day or what? I mean, me, I'm just saying, if I were a Catholic.
No. You can drink and have corned beef.
All right. It was corned beef. God said specifically just corned beef for the Irish Catholics.
I'm the Pope. God, please. God, it's me, the Pope. Okay. I told them they can't drink and eat meat on that day, but they don't like me anymore. And I just feel like okay, I'm getting it out, God, okay? Just give me a second. This is very hard, okay? These people loved me yesterday. It's landing on Friday. Just let me say it's okay for one. Just this time, God. Really?
You're the best.
Oh my...
Guinness and corned beef. Oh my God, thank you so much.
Trust me. We're gonna get more people in Easter this year. This year's gonna be the best, God. Would you like a Cadbury egg? I can get them. They don't come in dark chocolate, and I think that's stupid. But you can make that happen too. Oh, I'm asking for too much. It's okay. I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry.
I don't even care. That day's about you. I didn't even mean nothing. All right, I'm gonna go.
Please come back on Sunday. Please come back on Sunday.
Yeah, desperate. It does reek of like, it's kind of like. If you're going to be a fucking stickler with these rules, like, then just bending them for PR purposes.
You're a bitch.
You're a
bitch.
The Pope is a punk bitch.
You are a punk ass bitch.
Yeah, how about you bend them so that dudes aren't dragged by pickup trucks to their death? No, corned beef.
Yeah, nope. Yeah,
we got the corned beef. I'm a bitch.
Did you ever try to eat a lot or drink heavily all day at a parade and then eat a fish sandwich? Have you ever tried to do that? It's not holy. It's not heavenly. It's.
An owner of a tavern said, being an ex-altar boy from Limerick, it's good to see the Catholic Church bending a little bit. It makes people's decision-making easier on the big day. Your decision-making, if you fuck God or get to eat corned beef, and now the decision-making is taken care of, you can eat corned beef.
I do need to go back to this because, Camden, you said this before about religion being like, the rationale and the culty nature of this. Can you honestly believe that someone is waiting for this fucking goofy ass punk bitch in a hat to tell them that it's okay? Like, do you really how many people are out there? And I really believe this. How many people are actually out there? And I know my grandmother, I come from an Irish Catholic family. I know people who do the Lent thing and do that shit. But I don't actually think if they were pressed that they're sitting there and going, our decision is tough. All day we're having a hard time because we're partying on St. Patrick's Day, but you can't have the meat. Are they really like waiting for this fucking punk to tell them, and then they go, okay, now it's okay? That's it's delusion on a level that's hard to.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Just like you're pardoned every fucking Sunday, no matter how much crap you did.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. Anyone who's taking that cracker, anyone who's sipping on that COVID cup, anyone who's going into the booth and going, is it okay now? And you go, yeah, just give me some money and say some shit over and over again. And it's okay now, but make sure you come next week because you're probably going to fornicate and rob someone and lie and do the shit. But don't worry, it'll be okay because God told me I can forgive you. So yeah, of course, it's all set up like that. It's set up here's some guilt. Now I come to my house and I alleviate you from it, and then go out there and anything you do will give you guilt because I ensured that.
Yes, and remember, I know your secrets. I'm the guy. You've come back and told me everything. I mean, this is what L. Ron Hubbard borrowed. One of the great things he borrowed for Scientology was the auditing process of like, oh no, the Catholics, the thing that they've done well because they're just a recognized cult.
They tell on themselves.
They tell on themselves, and they have this. The priests and bishops have this power over people where they're like, oh yeah, we know all what goes on in the confessional booth. They're fucking. It's high level.
They turn a safe space, like a psychiatry booth, basically going, these are the sins of my life. Isn't that what you actually say? What is it? These are the sins of my whatever.
You're thinking days of our lives.
Bless me for my sins.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just rewatched that movie where what's his face is addicted to sex, and God damn, if I only had the title. It's such a good movie. Everyone hates it, and it didn't get enough credit. It's so good. It has the woman. Okay, now we're getting into it. Hold on.
Right.
Okay. He's like this. Oh, you know who's in it? Who's the boss?
Tony Danza?
Yes, he plays the father, and he's like, "Hey, this is who you're bringing home. Hi, how you doing? Oh, I didn't know she was so beautiful. Dad, she's the most beautiful thing I ever seen. Oh, let me tell you how I met your mother. I looked at her, and I said, that's mine. Oh, my God. That is the most romantic thing I ever heard. Trust me. This is directly from the movie. If you don't know it, you haven't seen it, and you should.
Oh, wait, he's the father. Sorry, when you said father, I thought me in priest. He's the father of the girl. Yes, got it. I was picturing Danza as a priest.
What is this? Oh, you know who's in it? The most beautiful woman in the world. God, fuck this. Okay, you know who else is in it? Boogie Nights, the mom.
You know who else is in it? By the way, ignore that, guys. You know who else is in it, though? Go ahead.
The mom from Boogie Nights. Do you guys watch movies?
Wait.
Julianne Moore.
Moore. Okay.
Julianne. This is not ringing a bell.
Julianne Moore was opposite Tony Danza in a feature film?
Not even. They never met. They were never in a scene together.
Interesting.
Look how great this movie is sounding.
Oh, I know.
Where are you?
You're talking about Don John?
Yes.
Don Juan, whatever the fuck.
Don John.
Yeah.
Because his name is John, and they call him the Don because he smashes every fucking weekend.
Oh, why didn't you bring up that actor instead of Tony Danza? I was thinking.
I forgot his name.
Tony, that was an exceptional Danza. I hope you do more of Danza.
Thank you. Thank you. It was, thank you.
Gordon-Levitt. Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Okay.
Scarlett Johansson.
Gorgeous. Hello.
So what's the deal? They marry and they're Catholics? Italian.
God damn it! I forgot my point.
How does this even come up? Catholics should choose some other penitential practice instead of making an equivalent sacrifice. So you get your corned beef, you get drunk, but then they go some dessert. Like no, Lent.
Wait, God has a caveat in this.
Yeah, you got to do something a little, punish yourself some other way, but enjoy yourself completely how you want to on Friday.
Interesting.
But this is why this movie came up, because he confesses every week, and he says the same thing at the end of it that I should have memorized now because I've seen this movie 5 times. He says something like, these are the sins of all of my life. I don't fucking know, but he's Catholic, and he's like, I fornicated, I touched myself. And then when he gets better, he's like, yo, this week I didn't fornicate, I didn't touch myself. I did so good. And the priest is like, 5 Hail Marys, blah, blah. He goes, but the same thing, Father, but this week was different. Thank you, son. He's like, holy shit.
That's what unraveled for him. That's when he first started to question.
I'm just saying stuff here, and he's just saying stuff. He even tries to make comments. He's like, is this the same guy every time? Is this I just want to, anyway, I fornicated. It's such a good movie.
I am absolutely going to watch this now. I must.
Text me on the side, Murph.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Let me mention this weekend. We're having the game show. You want to be part of this, all right? It's Sunday. I'm about to lose some friends over it. Mae Wilkerson. Fuck you. Nick Turner, die in a ditch. Kevin Casey White, choking your own dick. Abby Crutchfield. I have a little crush on Abby. All right. But I'm gonna go up against him on the game show. KeithAndTheGirl.com/game show this Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. KeithAndTheGirl.com/game show. Let me check any other. Oh shit, this is when I won poker. That's a straight flush. Okay, that's not important, but we do that every Wednesday. Murf Meyer, you want to check out his podcast? Murf Meyer's his new podcast is Self-Medicated Weekly Dose. And this guy has been out there. He wrecks lives, but he's here to say, hey, I changed.
That was then. This is now.
This is now, and this is how perhaps you yourself could calm the fuck down a little bit. Nobody's asking you to white knuckle it either. And that's Murph. You're always giving. You're always an open book in the real good way. Murf Meyer, thank you so much.
Thank you both so much for having me. I love you guys.
Click on the likes, whatever you see in front of you right now, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, click on the likes. What's the problem? You're going to have to tell the priest if you don't do it. You're going to have to. That's how it works. What are you, stupid? Are you dense? All right, goodbye. For these and all of my sins, I'm sorry.